Hey folks, Crimson Blaze here, and I am back on trail. This weekend's adventure, I am in Badlands National Park, and I am doing the Sage Creek Wilderness Loop. I will admit, when I first heard about Badlands, I thought, who would want to backpack in a place called the Badlands? I'm assuming it's named that for a reason. And then I kind of looked up, what the temperature range is here, and I think the high can be like 120 degrees Fahrenheit with the low at 40 below. I thought, wow, man, it just must be kind of a barren wasteland. And then I started seeing pictures, and I saw people doing backpacking trips up here, and it looks really cool. It's just different, it's just different than any type of trip that I have ever done before. And I wanted to give it a shot because the rocks here just look really, really cool. It's nothing like I've ever seen before. And I've heard when the sun sets and the sun rises that these rocks really kind of come alive and they light up. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. So this is definitely going to be a new kind of adventure. The Badlands is only 6 hours from northern Colorado. So I left early that morning because I wanted to have a nice hamburger and fries at Wall Drug. That is one of South Dakota's national treasures. And I had been there once, and it's got gift shops, it's got hamburgers, so it's my kind of place. So I stopped there for a quick hamburger, some fries, and then I headed into the park, which is really only 25 minutes from Wall, so it's really not that far. Let me give you some details about this backpacking trip. So I am doing the Sage Creek Wilderness Loop, which is around 22 miles, I think a little over 22 miles, and it starts at the Conata trailhead, and it is a loop. And I'm going to be out here for 3 days and 2 nights. And this first night, I'm just hiking in 3 miles to a place called Deer Haven. And it looks like there are some good trees there for hanging a hammock. So that's what I'll be doing for night 1. And then I'll probably have a bigger day on day 2, maybe 10, 12 miles I'm going to hike. And that'll set me up for a nice, fairly short hike out on Sunday morning. But so far, it has been pretty cool. As I was coming into the park, there were just bison roaming around. There's actually one that was on the road, and it was like facing my car. And I'm like, is it okay to drive in front of a bison? I didn't know if my red car was going to spark it to charge it. It did it, but that was cool. I've already seen some mountain goats, and it's really cool. And I think that's what I'm hoping for on this trip is some cool wildlife, as the bison and the pronghorn deer are supposed to be just roaming wild in this area. And I would love to just see them, just running around in these prairie fields. I think that would be really cool. I'm about 2 miles in to the trail right now, but as you can see, there are trees up there on the hill. That was definitely a bonus when I saw those trees and some of the views from Deer Haven. I think it's a really popular overnight camping spot, so I'm looking forward to pitching my hammock there. So this trail is known to not really be a trail. It's a lot of game trails, and you'd have to really know how to kind of navigate. And that's why I've really enjoyed this Onyx backcountry, because it'll kind of show you where you're pointing and if you're going in the direction of the trail or not. So this is exactly what I'm talking about. So I've been on the trail, and it looks like a trail a little bit, and then I come to this and not quite sure where to go. But when I look at Onyx, then it shows me that I need to start heading up that direction there. So it has definitely been very helpful this last mile. I tell you, I would have never found that trail. That was not intuitive to me to hang that hard right. But as I climbed up that hill, boom, I popped out right on this trail up here in Deer Haven, and it's pretty cool. And these views, oh man, these views are pretty cool. All right, let's see if I can find me a campsite, and let's go get the hammock set up. All right, I think I have found camp, and look at this view. Whew, that something's that is awesome. I will say that the trees are not the best, but I think there's a couple of spots here where I can make something work for one night. And for this view right here, yeah, we're gonna make it work. So, all right, let's set up camp. Camp is set. Got the One Wind hammock sling, which I am just absolutely falling in love with. That is working out great with this bridge hammock. And again, just the Nemo Tensor sleeping pad, the long and wide, so it's 25 inches wide, which is great. My Zen Bivy sleep system, 25 degrees, which keeps me nice and warm. And then a little liner to kind of protect my quilt and make it a little more comfortable sleeping on this pad. So that is great. And that is my setup. And it did take a little bit of finagling to get it right, because my anchor points are kind of far, about 24 feet. So that's why it's sitting so high. But once I get in, then it settles back down. But look at this view. I mean, look at this view. Whew, this is why I picked Deer Haven. This is what I saw, and this is what I wanted to camp at. And this is just stunning. It is so cool as the sun is beginning to set, and the sun will probably rise on those rocks tomorrow morning. So that is great. But it really was a good day today. Short day. I only hiked in not even 3 miles, and it was all flat except for the very last, I'm going to say half mile. Did you hike up here to Deer Haven? And I do have a little bit more I have to hike over, but you know, nothing compared to what I've been used to, especially like that Art Loeb Trail. So it was easy hiking, but I do have my camp clothes on. That always makes me, sleep better. And it was just a wonderful day. But I'm really looking forward to this Sage Creek Wilderness Loop. The things that I hear is that it's not really a defined trail. Although from what I saw, you could definitely make out a trail, and it wasn't that hard to make it out. It wasn't until the end where I was trying to figure out where I needed to go specifically to get up over this ridge here in Deer Haven and find a spot for camping. So I think I'm going to be using that Onyx a lot to make sure that I'm staying on trail. So you need to be able to navigate a little bit. And another thing is no water, right? There's no water on this trail. So again, I am carrying 7 liters of water. I've got my 3-liter Hydro Pack, 4 1-liter bottles. I even have my my Gatorade bottle that I use as well. So I'm carrying a lot of water. I'm carrying 2 shelters just because I love sleeping in my hammock. I really do. And so I wanted to sleep in my hammock in Deer Haven, and I'm really glad that I brought it. So I'm carrying that extra weight, but with views like this, it is definitely worth it, especially when I get to lay in my hammock and just go to sleep to that. I'm really looking forward to that. But it's been a wonderful day, and I think I'm just going to now sit down and have some dinner, and I will see you in the morning. Morning, folks. It is day 2, and last night was just fantastic. There was no wind and no clouds, so I had the tarp. I didn't hang my tarp. I could just see the stars throughout the night, and it was wonderful. It was a little bit eerie in that I could hear coyotes like howling all around me. And I think the sounds were just bouncing off of these rock walls, and it just felt like I was surrounded by coyotes. And then turkeys this morning. I heard a lot of gobbling this morning. So, but other than that, it was a great night. So it did get a little bit cool. I think it dropped down into like 39, 40 degrees, but I stayed nice and warm in my Zen bivvy. But today I'm hoping to hike around 12 miles. That should get me where I need to be so I can head out early tomorrow morning. I just have this one little climb here. So this is the very top of Deer Haven. So I got to get over that ridge, and then I will drop down into the Sage Creek drainage. And then on, I think, it's fairly flat. There may be some up and downs as you're climbing around some of these rocks, but yesterday and today in the morning, this is my biggest climb that I'll have for the entire trip. So looking forward to that. And I'm hoping to see bison. I've heard that I should see groups of bison on the other side of this ridge as I'm hiking today, and that's going to be really cool. So I will see you on the trail. Well, that wasn't much of a climb, but I did meet some hikers this morning who are locals that do this all the time. And they told me not to follow the map, that the map kind of takes you further east just to come back west. He said there's actually the trail. When you come up, take that well-defined trail and it'll take you up through this crack. And that's what I did. And that was pretty easy, actually. And now I'm guessing that I am in the Sage Creek drainage, as it looks like once there was a creek here. But pretty cool, man. Pretty cool. I think I forgot to mention yesterday that this is the first weekend in May, which seems to be pretty ideal for temperatures. Like I said, I think it can get up to 120 degrees Fahrenheit, and that's kind of hot for backpacking. But the high yesterday, I think, was like 65, and the high today is supposed to be around 80 degrees. With the lows in the 40s and 50s. So that to me is fairly ideal backpacking weather. So If you're gonna backpack the Badlands, I'd recommend doing it, kind of early, late spring, or maybe even fall. Well, I am finally coming out of that Sage Creek bed. It was about 3 miles. You drop down from Deer Haven, and then you go immediately into following that Sage Creek bed. And it's pretty easy to follow. That's all you have to really do is stay on, is follow that. And that will take you all the way through. But it was good to have my Onyx map to know where I needed to get out, because the creek keeps on going. The creek bed keeps on going. I'm about 5 miles in now and decided just to drop the pack and get that weight off of my shoulders and have second breakfast and just enjoy this view. And it is beautiful, man. Beautiful day out here. It's been really good. Blue skies, nice light breeze. It's been nice. So I've been about 2 miles now out of that Sage Creek bed, and it's up and down, man. I am really glad that I have that Onyx backcountry that shows me the direction that I need to head for the trail, because I've lost it probably a dozen times, but I know I'm heading in the general direction. So a lot of times I'm not even on a trail. I'm just hiking through prairie land, really. And but the Onyx backcountry is really helping me dial in to stay, fairly on course of where I need to be. So that has been great. But just gonna sit here, rest for a little bit more. Got about 7 more miles. I'll probably have lunch. Definitely will have lunch before then. Don't think I'm gonna find any shade spots out here. I may pop out my umbrella here soon and start hiking with it. But what a beautiful day. You can see I'm sporting some new gear. Got the umbrella kicking and it is doing awesome. I love this sun umbrella. It's working really well. But I just wanted to comment that this is so cool. I don't know how you folks are when you're out there backpacking, but there's no trail out here, and there's a lot of navigation, so you got to be really mindful of that. But I love that. I mean, it's so different. It just reminds me when I was a kid and I was just out in the woods or the sand dunes or whatever, and I'm just exploring. And I feel like that's kind of what I'm doing right now. But I'm up and down, into gullies, over hills, climbing over some rocks, no trail, and I love it. I really do. I love it. Finally see a little bit of a trail, and I know I'm coming to the end here on my map. It looks like I'm going to take a hook left around those rocks and then start heading in that direction. But it was probably another 3 miles once you leave Sage Creek you start going up and down those little gullies and hills. It's probably another 3.5 miles until you get to this point. And yeah, it's nice to be able to see a trail and feel confident that you know where you're going. The only disappointing thing about today so far has been the lack of wildlife. So I've seen plenty of evidence of wildlife, but I was hoping to be walking amongst the mighty bison out on the prairies. And so far, that has not happened. But I'm still in these little creek beds and gullies and these little climbs, so I'm hoping once I get out to the flat prairie land that's where they'll be hanging out. Now that was a cool encounter. That was worth the trip right there. Just seeing him eyeball me and then see him running down into that little gully. That was cool. All right, let's see you again.